Hello and welcome to Fractured Space. My name is Ventilius258. This is the December update of 2015, just before the new year. A little bit late, but better late than never, sometimes. This update's got quite a bit of content that's been added and a very game-changing new mechanic. So let's dive right in, I guess. Before I begin, though, I will say this. For anybody who has not watched my videos before, I will first go over the paper stats and changes, which is more or less just a rundown of everything that's been added. And then after that, I will give my opinion on the important things. That's wrong. I will give my opinion on some of the new things that have been added and how that will affect the game, and how it will affect the game for anybody playing. So, let's begin with the newest and biggest addition that has been added. That would be the new Xeric Gladiator. The Xeric Gladiator is one of the 4 new ships that have been added with this patch. The Gladiator kind of represents another Xeric presence ship. If we look at the tech tree, it's listed here, which I find quite odd. So now Xeric has 2 presence ships. It has the Paragon, the Carrier, and the Gladiator, which is a broadside, heavy-hitting... Okay, just think Destroyer. It's the closest relation, or any ship, if you want to have like a benchmark comparison, is the Destroyer. It acts about the same way, but some very key differences. Other than that, it's its own ship. The Gladiator is it's an interesting ship to play. It's very limited in its firing arc, but it's a balancing mechanic to make up for the rather sizable damage potential that you can actually inflict on anybody using the full broadsides of the cannons. It also has the ability to up the armor with a passive ability that increases fire rate, even furthering its damage potential. And it has mines, which hit or miss sometimes work. Its armor is on the top, and the sides are actually the weakest part, which is the other balancing mechanic that they were going for. So yeah, that is the Gladiator. Next is the next new ship that they've added was the TDS, what's it called? Interceptor. I do not have the Interceptor. I have not tested the Interceptor, as you can see. And I've only seen the Interceptor once while playing real quick, so I'm not actually sure how well this will play out. Anyway, it's a mid-range interception craft. It's designed to be fast. It's meant to have a high rate of fire. And kind of work around a versatility, kind of an in and out attack ship, I guess is the way they're trying to show it off. Other than that, it has a few other kind of gun changes that make it a little bit different and add some new mechanics to the game, such as, well, actually that's more interesting and more evident with the other new ship that has been added. Wrong ship. The Titan Persecutor. I have played the Persecutor, and I do not like the Persecutor, but that's another story. Persecutor is... I'm just going to use their description, a hunter-killer craft, because that's the only way I can describe it. Anyway, it's designed to navigate the battlefield and pick its targets, in which point it will unload its magazine-loaded weapon, which is another new game mechanic that they have added. Basically, having a magazine-fed weapon system, which the Persecutor even has a magazine-fed blink system, which is kind of interesting. It means you can fire off more shots of your gun quicker, but in order to reload, it takes extra time. However, in practice, I'm not sure if it's actually going to be something important for any player. So far, having played the Persecutor, it's sort of gimmicky. It needs to be implemented in a more, how can I say, situational and adversely self-detrimental weapon system. I'll explain what that means later. Um, the last of the new ships is another USR ship, the USR Black Widow. Now, the Black Widow is a missile ship. That's basically it. It's a missile boat. Has a cloak, which is also strange. So, first impressions of it, it was going to be a sort of stealthy ship like the Ghost or the Infiltrator. Um, However, as almost all of its weapon systems are actually missiles, which is kind of cool because it's fun to watch all those missiles fly to a target. Um, Despite that, the missiles are severely lacking, in my opinion. They don't do enough damage, I think, and they're so easy to counter despite any of the weapon systems that you are employing that it needs a friend to distract the flak of the enemy or some other in order to make it worthwhile. Else your missiles get shot down by their point defense and you can't really fight back. You also don't really have enough health, so that's where that cloak comes in. However, it's kind of a mid-range, yet mid-range type weapon. Do keep in mind, however, since it is missiles, they do take time to travel as well. So, personally, my experiences, I do not like the Black Widow so far. It has its moments, but those moments are so few that I'm not sure. Also, it looks more spacey to me, like traditional. Like design-wise, I mean. It's looks like a shuttle, which I guess is what they're kind of going for with all the USR designs. They're meant to look more old-fashioned, kind of like what we would create first as a technologically advancing society, with I guess the TDS being the most advanced. Zarek's kind of in the middle. I don't know. It's just my opinion. Um, so those are the new ships. And they all do add something that's quite interesting. The Gladiator, I think, has great potential. Persecutor and Interceptor, maybe, but they look like they're hard to play and learn how to play. Black Widow, I don't know. The missiles is its biggest problem. So, yeah. Other than that, something really, really important is um, the new upgrade system that they've implemented. Now, the upgrade system is kind of an extension of the old upgrade system. As usual, you would capture mines and they would provide resources. Once you get enough resources, your ship gets upgraded, so more health, better armaments, blink, energy, etc., etc., etc. However, now at levels 3, 6, and 9, you will now have the ability to choose the specific types of upgrades you need. So you can go for offensive types, which increase damage, your rate of fire, and weapon cooldowns, which in the case of, say, something like the Gladiator, that would actually make a bit of sense. It increases your damage and it increases your rate of fire, which complements its weapon systems. Um, defense. Defense upgrades, just max health, armor damage threshold, so just more armor so you can resist. Heal received, so if you have a protector on you. It also, surprisingly enough, decreases the damage received from the enemy's home base, which is also another update, which I'll mention in a moment. And then the final one's just utility, which I'm pretty sure you understand what it means. It is a little bit odds and end type upgrade, but it still has some benefits. It increases spotting range used to lock missiles. Fighters and bombers, they have a better range, or targeting range. Better energy, so in the case of ships like the Raven, for example, which use a lot of energy, that would be very useful. And energy regen rates. Again, the Raven as the example. It also decreases the ability cooldowns, which makes sense as well. So you can choose one of the three every single time. You can, by the end of it, level 9, you can have one upgrade in each specific area, or you can have 3 in just one area, or 2 in one, to split however you wish, basically. So in a way, you actually have to kind of plan both the ship design in terms of its damage potential, damage tank, or utility harassment potential, which I think is a very nice benefit to the game. However, I will mention, for anybody who has messed around with their key bindings or it's just not working so far, before you actually can use them, oh, cancel, wrong one. Do keep in mind, the standard buttons, despite how I can't seem to find where they're actually listed in particular, are the buttons B, N, and M. Each one does their corresponding upgrade. However, there's the possibility that they might not be set up when you get into the game after the update. In which case, all you have to do is simply hit reset to defaults. It will rebind the keys perfectly, but you will have to kind of mix and match the other older buttons that you have already changed. So I've already done that, and yeah. So just keep that in mind, because that was a bothersome thing when I first started. Somebody helped explain it. So I'm here to explain it to you all. You can thank me later. Conquest, which is the old traditional way of playing, also got a lot of changes in this update. More of them visual, not necessarily very many in the terms of gameplay. And by that I mean quite a few changes and very big changes in terms of gameplay. So the first one, visuals. They've changed. They look different. They look quite nice. They each have a distinctive look. I don't know why, but I feel like the scale has changed, but the map has changed. So there's the potential for more maneuvering and tactics if you can somehow manage it. And there's a ton more asteroids in the bases for you to hide around and whatnot, which personally I think there are actually a bit too many, because now it's kind of hard to get, it's kind of hard to just maneuver a ship around all the asteroids. But that's just personal opinion. Another important change was to the actual home bases of the respective teams. Instead of having that area of effect damage where capping it would damage your ship instantly, they've instead added new turret defense platforms on the actual base, as well as upgrading the visuals for what the base actually looks like. Apparently it's not its final form, but hey. I personally think they actually have a better damage potential than the old system. Plus, due to having multiple of them, you can actually die pretty quickly. However, there's a trade-off. You actually can disable them by shooting them enough. You can actually take out the turrets, and then you'll be able to cap the base without any potential damage that you can take, which I think is a good idea. Another change that was given to the Conquest mode was Gamma. Gamma 4, the fourth type upgrade that can be achieved in the game. It has gotten a huge buff. On top of the already ridiculous rate of fire buff, speed buff, health buff, energy buff, speed, capture rate. I have a feeling I repeated something. It now has an extra bonus for that amount of time. What they've started to implement is the idea of jump locks. More seriously implement the idea of jump locks. And in practical terms, it just means it's the old system where you could capture a base and then jump to their home base. That's basically what the proper name is, jump locks. Once you get Gamma 4, jump locks are disabled, so you can now jump straight to the enemy base from wherever you are in the map. So Gamma 4 now becomes the biggest battlefield which is great for battles in the entire game, because whoever gets that and manages to survive with the most ships, you now has the ability to directly assault your home base, and the enemy team has to defend like crazy, or else they'll just be overrun. So it's an interesting new mechanic. It's awesome to use, and on the receiving end, it does make some very interesting teamwork tactics in the defense of your own home base, which your home base now joins in for. It's quite nice. So that's it for gameplays and ships. After that, it's mostly kind of simple stuff. In terms of crew, new crew member, the Ridley J. Fincher. How did they pronounce the Phantom Engineer? Um, Not bad. He does some pretty interesting stats for your crew. I use them every once in a while. Other than that, there are some new. Whoops. There are new skins for the ships of the Titan Defense Systems tech tree. The Enceladus, Enceladus, however you pronounce that. It's kind of a camo-y gray. Of the few ships that I have, I can showcase it. Um, Other than that, nothing much. Few changes here and there, bug changes, rebalancing for the Pioneer. Yes, the USR Pioneer and the Xeric Adventure, they both have had significant changes. So for anybody who uses those ships, you will definitely want to look at that. The full patch notes, of course, will be in the description once the video has been posted. Okay, so now I've gone over everything that's been in the actual update. Time to get on to what I think the update actually means. In terms of the new ships, I'll go down the line. Gladiator, great potential. I don't have any quarrel with the Gladiator. The Persecutor, not sure yet. I don't like it so far. I think the magazine-fed weapon system, its main weapon system, is a great idea, but in practice, the way it was implemented, I'm not liking it too much. And the reason for that is the Persecutor kind of sells itself as a fast, very maneuverable, hit-and-run tactic type ship. It doesn't have enough health. I'll bring it up. It doesn't really have enough health to stay long, but just enough health to deliver a payload. However, that's what it would be in theory. In practice, you don't have enough time. The amount of ammunition that you have in the gun, you can't unload fast enough at the moment. And the damage potential, therefore, is not that great, especially when you're considering the damage you're going to receive. Multiple times I have fought against hunters. Hunters, with their blink ability and their forward-firing guns, managed to take out the Persecutor in a more or less equal fashion. He will have next to no health, I will have next to no health. One of us just so happens to die. And that's something that really bothers me. On top of that, the blink, not very good. In fact, terrible. The blink has a range of 3,000 meters, which you only get 3, also with a magazine-fed system, but the cooldown is extremely long, even for just one reload, which I also find very strange. Just for comparison that I've been using, the Hunter, using the standard blink gets 75, the quick blink gets 3,500, which already by that point is more than what you get on the Persecutor, and the range blink, which is 15. So more or less, you won't be able to catch a hunter, and you won't be able to. The Persecutor's good in theory. That's what I want to say. Just in practice, it doesn't work out, and I can't figure out what its actual role in any game actually is. Maybe it will develop into something that somebody else will figure out, but I can't for the life of me figure it out in a short amount of time. So that's the Persecutor. The Interceptor, not a clue. I haven't played it. I haven't been shot by it really, so can't comment. The Black Widow. Black Widow, definitely I can comment about. A waste, I guess, is just the only word that comes to mind. Um, on top of its design, I think even its design actually kind of reflects what the Black Widow is. Old-fashioned, I guess would be the word. Um, it's mainly because it just isn't it doesn't perform as well as it should, I guess. As a missile boat, it will be able to deliver huge payloads of damage. That's the idea. Except the Ghost does the same thing, and it actually does it rather effectively. However, the Black Widow doesn't. The missiles get shot down. They have different speeds. They have different uses, which makes sense. However, it doesn't have much health. The missiles can be easily shot down. And the cloak even, which isn't the cloak they use on the Ghost, in fact. It's called the Shadow Cloak. It's a backwards version of the standard cloak, which means you can be detected by ships that are 3.75 kilometers near you, which you might think, oh, that's not that bad, but the shortest range missile is the Vulture missiles, and they do the most damage, and they have a range of 72. They're kind of like the Merlin, if I recall correctly. Merlin missiles. They're just not very fast. They're easy to shoot down, and they're slow. So getting close is a bad idea because you don't have enough health. The missiles can get shot down anyways. You have a main weapon system, but that main weapon system is more or less kind of a joke, and is more of a last-ditch effort that isn't meant to be taken seriously. It fires like the flagships, is it called the flagship still? No, the Colossus. Sorry, the Colossus. It fires like the Colossus. Um, yeah, I just don't see it being that worrisome. So yeah. As to the new mechanics, the upgrade system, great idea. I love it. The new base upgrades, so they actually shoot instead of just kind of damage, that I love too. Wonderfully implemented. Um, all great. It definitely forces you to actually take your time when attacking bases. You can no longer kind of just rush in and capture as many points as possible before the area of effect just slowly kills you. Instead of the area effects, they've replaced it with those gun turrets, and those gun turrets do, I think, more damage than the area of effect did. Also, they have 360-degree firing arcs, so and I tried this. You can't hide in the center of the base anymore either. There are gun batteries on the outside perimeter of the base and the inside, so it has full jurisdiction over all areas to shoot. So you have to take them out before you can actually start, and I love that idea. It also makes it for defense to kind of get a little bit of an extra boost. An attacking team, for example, would have to deal with the defenders, the player defenders, and the defenses on the actual base. It just makes it harder. It's great. So yeah, this update I like. The ships, hit and miss, but that's how it kind of usually is. The Gladiator, I think, still has the best potential as any ship. Comes with a Red October skin, if you happen to have Platinum. So yeah, great all-round update, more or less. So that is the December 2015 update. Please post in the comments section what you actually think. Tell me if I missed anything or you disagree completely. My name is Matilius258. I really do hope I get to shoot you soon in this game, and have a nice day. Merry Christmas!